Our lead story of the day is a doozy, folks, because the progressive left is back in saying that mathematics is racist. Now, I'm a mathematics teacher myself, and so in a nutshell, they're calling me racist. And what they want to do is have math teachers go to these retreats where they acknowledge their biases, they evaluate their content that they're presenting to students, and acknowledge that the practices that they're conducting in the classroom in teaching mathematics is in fact harmful. This one is wild, folks. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, leave us a comment down below, and just double check to make sure that bell icon does in fact say all notifications, and make sure that YouTube didn't go into your profile and change it without you knowing, because they're prone to do some shady stuff. Your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Well, check this out. A teacher's retreat in Ontario, Canada. We all know what's going on with Canada and their education system and them forcing certain professors out like Jordan B. Peterson and others, is inviting educators in math to an event called Exploring the Powers and Potential of Indigenous Knowledge Systems in Mathematics, according to the Post Millennial and promotional images of the event. The 2-day retreat promises teachers will, quote, deepen their understanding of incorporating Indigenous mathematics systems to enhance and transform the teaching and learning of mathematics for all students. So before, when we were students ourselves, we went into the classroom, we listened to the teacher teach, we took our notes, we went home and did homework, and we went back the next day. Well, it's no longer like that, folks. I don't know if you stepped in a classroom in quite some time. It's vastly different. The expectation used to be that you would adapt to the teacher, because the teacher has what, like 200 students. It would seem a little bit ridiculous for that teacher to cater to literally every student individually and their learning needs, basically. Well, that's what the expectation for teachers is nowadays. When I switched careers from accounting into teaching, that was one of my main questions to professors when I was going through my education, going through my credentialing process was, you're expecting me to cater to every student individually, and if I have 210 students that have all missing gaps of knowledge, that all learn different ways, how can I possibly, in an actual way, cater to every single student? Because I want to help them. I want to serve them. I'm there to take care of them. I'm there to help them in their academics and get the best grade possible. But you're setting me up for failure if I have to literally cater my whole curriculum and my teaching style to every student independently. That means you'll have 200 and something different teaching styles, and that could vary throughout the day per student, because one student might be a certain way, and then that same student just 15 minutes later might be a different way. So it's setting the teacher up for failure, where we used to adapt as students to have the teacher taught, the way the teacher gave their concepts, the way they spoke, the way that they handled their different strategies throughout the classroom. It's no longer the case anymore. So now we're going even a step further of going, well, now you have biases that you're seeping in. Now you need to sit there and look at the way that you're being harmful to your students in your mathematical practices that are now colonized from years past or whatever. It's so head spinning. It's so ridiculous. Well, the session itself will explore how mathematics, along with other subjects, are not exempt from colonial bias and harmful practices that lead to inequities in student achievement. These are the same people, you guys, specifically in the United States, that were pushing math as racist like 2 years ago, and said that if you're a math teacher, you have to allow a student that's doing a problem that's 2 plus 2, for example, you have to give every answer equal weight. So we all know that 2 plus 2 is 4. If a student, say a person of color, a Hispanic, a white person, whatever it may be, says the answer is 5, you have to accept that answer, because if you don't, you are a racist. If you don't, you are a bigot. And people think when I say this example that I'm literally crazy, like I'm just making up a random example. I am not, you guys. This is from the progressive left. This is what they want us to do as math teachers. The least like political class possible, because the answer is just the answer. You got it wrong, man. There's no like multiple answers here. You're either right or you're wrong. And there's no politics into it. You're just wrong. And I'll prove you wrong, because all these mathematics that we teach within like algebra and statistics or whatever it may be, a lot of them are backed up by proofs, and I will literally prove you to be wrong. But, you know, again, they want to inject all this stuff into the STEM fields. So now 2 plus 2 can be 5, it can be 7, whatever it is. And you have to accept it, because if you don't, you guys, you're racist, which obviously none of us are that watch the Bald Brad show, or you shouldn't be. I'm not a racist. I want people of color to succeed. I want everybody to succeed, and that's my job, is to help them and guide them. But if you're going to tell me that my practices and my strategies are harmful in some way, shape, or form, and that it's causing inequities in student achievement, there's also inequities in student achievement even on the student side. So why can't we acknowledge that as well? And I'm not going after the students, and I'm not going after the parents, I'm not going after the teachers. I'm just bringing up a freaking fact here of there's going to be inequities all over the place. Welcome to the real world. Some people are going to study harder than others. Some people aren't going to put in the extra effort to understand and learn the concepts more than others. But we can't talk about that. Again, we can't have any sort of conversation with the left, because if you do so, you're a phobic of something, folks. You're a phobic of something. Well, the itinerary here also promises to share tips and strategies on Indigenous knowledge without appropriating, minimizing, or tokenizing. The same people that promote diversity and are anti-discrimination, which you should be anti-discrimination at some point, are sitting there leaving out all this other stuff and promoting this other stuff. So meaning that they're actually not of equal weight in terms of diversifying what exactly they're teaching to these teachers at this retreat. Just amazing how that all works out, right? The About section reads, Indigenous knowledge systems, pedagogies, and methodologies can enhance and support the teaching and learning of mathematical concepts, including that educational spaces can uplift Indigenous knowledge systems and create transformative learning for all students. Honest to God, when I read that, it just sounds like they're going to go over certain mathematical concepts, strategies that you can implement in the classroom to help students learn. But here's the thing, is that it goes beyond that, because they want you to look at your colonial bias. They want to look at the practices that have been taught and have been utilized and actually shown to be proven to work in the classroom as, hey, maybe we shouldn't use these because, well, it's creating inequities for certain people and it's benefiting other people. Rather than looking at, okay, what's going on with the student, what's going on at home, how's the parents working out, or do they have a tutor, can they afford a tutor, are they utilizing the services that the school's providing? We can't talk about any of that. That's the problem here, because it's never anybody else's fault but the teacher, it seems like. Sometimes it is the teacher, by the way, folks. Sometimes it really is. There's bad teachers out there and there's really great teachers. I would like to point out, year to year, my averages across all my classes is about 85 to 90% average. Some might say, well, your class is too easy. There's students that struggle, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of students that do really well because they put in the effort, they put in the work, and I sit there and try to motivate them. I do everything I possibly can to make sure they're actually learning. Why? Because that's my job. That's my job as a teacher. And they try to cater to my teaching style the best they can, and I try to cater to their learning style the best they can. I don't focus on colonial bias. I don't inject this gender identity theory and all this crazy stuff. Nuh-uh. I sit there and I teach mathematics. I do my damn job, and I believe I do it pretty well. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. I got a lot of room of improvement, but boy, oh boy, am I not going to go to a retreat like this and waste my time. Nuh-uh. A new math curriculum for Ontario's educational system in 2021 stated, mathematics has been utilized and used to normalize racism and marginalization of non-Eurocentric mathematical knowledges. That's literally what they wrote. And a decolonial, anti-racist approach to mathematics education makes visible its historical roots and social constructions. What's amazing here is they're talking about mathematics has been used to normalize racism and marginalization, when a lot of algebra, which is predominantly one of the main core concepts you learn in high school and just math in general, as well as geometry, I would like to point out is from the Middle East. It's Arabic, basically. So somehow that gets twisted into being racist and marginalization, and it's European, it's colonialization, all this crazy stuff. Maybe some ways of solving problems might be, but algebra goes back thousands of years. But again, you guys, somehow it's going to be racist. Just as milk was racist, exercising's racist, whatever it may be. This is what they focus on, and this is what they want to do, is destroy our culture, destroy our education system, and destroy our STEM fields. They can't say they don't. I mean, they're literally telling kids that they could be trans, to take hormone and puberty blockers in the classroom, on top of telling them that 2 + 2 = 5. Because when they graduate high school, because they're going to just pump them through the system, because if they don't, then you're racist as well for holding a kid back that's of a different race than you are. Well, then when they get to college and they fail, because maybe they were accepted through affirmative action or whatever it may be, the system is still out there to oppress them because the system was based on colonialization and bias. You see how all that works? It's unbelievable. Their curriculum also states that math is subjective, as are the mathematicians it celebrates, adding that the importance that is placed upon mathematics by society are subjective. How is math subjective? Bro, you got it right or you got it wrong. There's no subjective in it. You just look at it. It's objective. Everybody can look and say 2 + 2 = 4. It doesn't equal 5. It doesn't work out that way. This gets me ramped up, folks, especially as a math teacher. The transformative learning teacher's getaway will feature outdoor activities as well as speakers. One of the speakers is an award-winning Indigenous educator. Ooh. While another is the co-chair for the First Nations. The Ontario Mathematics Coordinators Association, which is hosting the event, prides itself on forming during the Cold War, and that its annual retreat aims to bring in the top thinkers, activists, and leaders. See how they throw that just in the middle so you kind of glance over it? In mathematics. The retreat takes place at a Valley Resort, which costs around $275 to $300 per person per night at the start of 2023. So you're going to have these leftist activist teachers going to this retreat in Ontario, Canada, absorbing all this ridiculous stuff and then trying to inject it into the kids in the classroom. Maybe some of this stuff actually will be good that they're teaching in terms of practices that do work, that are, say, from somewhere that hasn't been colonized in the world, that can actually be a benefit of students. But again, math is racist, as you saw. There's certain teaching practices that you're utilizing in the classroom that are actually benefiting and helping predominantly all students. Again, average score of mine grade-wise is a B+ or an A-. You know, that's all somehow a bad thing and that you need to change it. Look, if it works, don't change it. If your kids aren't doing bad, don't always look at the teacher. It could be the kid itself or what's going on at home. Could be maybe utilizing their time spent somewhere else, say on video games, or maybe their sports are impacting their grades. There's so many reasons as to why a student may be struggling or not getting the grade that's desired, rather than blaming the teacher. Because I'll tell you a lot. A lot of the teachers I'll tell you what, the teachers in the classroom do teach. Now, the way they teach could be bad. It could be good. It just depends on the teacher. But at the end of the day, we all have to grind. We all have to push forward, even if the teacher isn't good. We all know there's a lot of college professors out there that suck. And you're paying for it, right? Either the kid pays for it or you paid for the kid's education. But for some reason, people don't really complain when they get a bad professor. They complain, but they're not going to like the deans all the time, not going to this or that, going, well, this teacher's not teaching me. No, you grind through it, you deal with it, and you find ways to still learn the subject. And that still needs to be applied and taught for self-efficacy inside the classroom, say starting at high school. Again, I'm being clear. Teachers need to do their job. We need to do the best way we possibly can to make sure these students succeed. But there's 210 of them. Everybody's different. Everybody's lifestyle is different. There's a lot of variables that go into this. I can do the best job I possibly can. A student could still fail at the end of the day. That's not the desired outcome. That's not what I want. I'm sure it's not what the student wants. It's not what the parent wants. It's not what the admin want. But it's reality still at the end of the day. Well, folks, do you think math is racist? Do you still think that this colonialization bias needs to be acknowledged? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.